College football is on the verge of revolutionizing the playoff format, but these schools are holding it back. Last summer, another major shift in the college football landscape took place, with the Pac-12 joining the growing list of dead or semi-dead football conferences. USC and UCLA tipped the first domino in announcing their departure for the Big Ten. And while this was a major blow, the presidents were confident in their ability to regroup and rebuild going forward. But with each passing month, more and more rumors and reports swirled about the possibility of more teams departing for greener pastures. And then it hit. The morning of August 4th, everything came crashing down.
The landscape of college football changing yet again. More teams potentially on the way out of the Pac-12.
For Oregon and Washington, leaving the Pac-12, heading to the Big Ten.
The Big 12 ends up with all 4 corner schools. It's like really a historic day in college sports.
At the last second before they signed the media rights deal, Oregon and Washington officially announced they were joining the Big Ten, which forced Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah to follow Colorado to the Big 12. And shortly after that, Stanford and Cal were thrown a life raft from the ever-stable ACC. And so the once Conference of Champions, the Pac-12, was now the Pac-2. 2 schools, Oregon State and Washington State, left without a home and without many options, yet faced with a choice: accept their fate and be relegated to the Mountain West Conference, or fight. And they chose to fight. And that opportunity would present itself in a vote to decide the future of college football. Now, along with everything else that's been changing in college football, 2024 will mark the first year for the 12-team playoff format. But of course, it's not as simple as putting in the 12 best teams. Before the dismantling of the Pac-12, the agreed upon consensus for the playoff would be the 6+6 model. 6 auto bids, 5 for the P5 champs and 1 for a G5 champ. Then the next 6 best teams would round out the field. But with there now being only 4 conferences that meet the criteria, it was widely accepted to instead implement the 5+7 model. Simply take away the auto bid for the Pac-2 and give it to another at-large bid. But to make such a change in the middle of the contract, the College Football Board of Managers would need to meet and unanimously vote on the change. But no problem, I mean, this was widely accepted. Even the G5 conferences were on board. The vote was considered a formality, but wouldn't you know it, of all the teams to be representing the old Pac-12 on the board, it just so happened to be Kurt Schultz, president of the Washington State Cougars. Now was their time to fight and get whatever they could, and he voted against the change. But why? The Pac-2 is never going to get an automatic bid into the playoff, they just don't meet the criteria. But there are 2 main reasons. Apparently, they wanted to retain voting rights and say in what's going on. More importantly, they wanted to buy time. It's highly likely that the 5+7 model is going to be adopted before the year starts. But the best thing that Oregon State and Washington State have going for them is time. If they can delay the inevitable for as long as possible, there is hope that another shoe will drop. Everyone knows that college football is about as unstable as it's ever been. Everyone seems to be bracing and expecting another major restructuring to happen. Especially what happened to FSU going undefeated in the regular season, winning a Power 5 conference and still being shut out of the playoff. Many think that they could be the next catalyst for a major overhaul of what we know college football to be. Now, Oregon State and Washington State continue to fight for their spot in the college football world. And many may say to them, move on, accept the cards you were dealt and make the most out of them. But how would you feel if this happened to your team, abandoned and without a home? You'd want your leaders to fight tooth and nail for your alumni, your players, and your school, because if they don't, no one else will. So I commend the Beavs and the Cougs. Keep it up. It just might pay off in the end. See you guys in the next video. Peace.